Hello fellow mutants, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to talk about what if Anakin's Force Ghost was in Star Wars sequels. That is a very interesting concept, one I deemed worthy for a video. So as soon as I can get this on jump cut. Okay, that was weird. But anyways, and ignore the mess in the back. I am slowly cleaning this room up. But anyways, Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost was curiously absent in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and events would have played out in a subtly different way had he been present. Only a handful of Jedi had been known to master the art of manifesting as Force ghosts from the netherworld of the Force, and Anakin Skywalker is one of them. That made his absence in the sequel trilogy all that stranger. Adam Christopher's novel Shadow of the Sith appeared to offer a solution. It revealed Anakin's first ghost helped Luke Skywalker's escape an encounter of the dark side in which his spirit has been transported to the spirit redoubt of Exegol. He vanished after this time, either exerting too much effort to protect his son or, more likely, falling into a Sith trap. George Mann's Star Wars Dark Legends has hinted that the Sith knew of a forbidden ritual allowing them to trap Force ghosts. Given Exegol has versions in the Force where the veil between life and death was unusually thin, it would make sense of these techniques to be even easier on the dark world. It is perhaps significant that Anakin's voice only managed to speak to Rey after Palpatine has lost focus in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Naturally, this has left many viewers wondering how the sequel trilogy would have played out had Anakin Skywalker's first ghost manifested. It's reasonable to assume that in this timeline, Anakin Skywalker was a little more careful. He recognized something lurking in the darkness, and though he did not recognize it as Palpatine, he realized he was in danger. Given Ben Solo adored his grandfather and believed he was continuing whatever he imagined Darth Vader's mission to be when he fell to the dark side, things would have surely have been different. Would Ben Solo have fallen to the dark side? Chuck Wendig's Aftermath trilogy implies Palpatine was watching over Ben Solo all his life, and in Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, the Emperor claimed to have been whispering seductive lies in his ear all his life, being, "I have been every voice you have ever heard inside your head," Palpatine taunted him. There is a sense in which Ben Solo never fell to the dark side, but rather was swept by it. And Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost would have been unable to prevent this. Indeed, it's entirely likely Palpatine would have been watching for any potential interference from Force Ghosts, prepared to imprison them. Thus, Ben Solo would have still fallen to the dark side, and it's worth noting Palpatine may well have pursued a slightly different strategy, avoiding focus so much on projections of Darth Vader's voice. So Anakin Skywalker could have taken Yoda's place in The Last Jedi. All this means events in the timeline would have been very similar to the actual Star Wars sequel trilogy. The first real difference would have been The Last Jedi, because Anakin Skywalker could have appeared to Luke instead of Yoda's Force Ghost. He would have been able to do so much when Luke had opened himself to the Force once again, and his words would have surely have been far more effective than even Yoda's. Anakin's very presence would have served as a reminder that redemption is always possible, for Luke would have remembered all of his father, that his father had been. This again would have been a minor change, one that would have been great. one that would have been great because I didn't even think of that route. But now that they said something, yeah, Anakin being there. I mean, don't get me wrong, seeing Yoda again was cool and all, but seeing Anakin there, yeah, could have symbolized to Luke that, yeah, redemption is a thing. I saw the light in you, Father. Redemption is a thing. I need to remember that with Ben. And because of that, the conversation between Luke and Leia could have been somewhat different towards the end of The Last Jedi. But they didn't. Would Anakin Force Ghost have mentored Leia and Rey? Darth Vader never had a relationship with his daughter in the real Star Wars timeline. I guess they meant real Star Wars timeline as in like the George Lucas era. Even after he became a Force Ghost, this seems to be a source of relief for Leia because she struggled to think well of her father, remembering his role in the destruction of, or I don't know why I have trouble pronouncing this, even though I know I've been saying this for the last like 11 years. Alderaan, there you go, and the torture she had suffered at his hands. Ray Carson novelization of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker revealed that the Force Ghost of Obi-Wan and Yoda taught Leia after Luke's death. And presumably in this timeline, they have been finally joined by Anakin Skywalker himself. His presence would have encouraged Leia to believe her son could be redeemed as well. Crucially, Anakin would also have been able to warn Leia that something greater was in play. When Palpatine released his message to the galaxy in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, it would have confirmed what she had already suspected. True. And now we're getting to Star Wars Rise of Skywalker would have been very different. The greatest change would have been in the Rise of Skywalker. It's unclear why the Force Ghost never appeared to Rey in the main timeline. Perhaps they sensed she was being watched by a powerful dark side presence and feared being captured. But the Jedi Force Ghost would have been a lot more active in the timeline where Anakin was free, simply because he would have known the location of the Sith Wayfinder and even the way to Exegol. He would have been able to guide the Resistance straight to the wreckage of the second Death Star on Kef Bir. Meanwhile, it's interesting to note Palpatine's access to Kylo Ren's mind seemed to have loosened after he revealed himself to the Supreme Leader. It's likely Kylo Ren began to protect his mind from the Emperor's influence, angered because he realized he had never had any true agency in his life. This could potentially have presented Anakin's Force Ghost with an opportunity to safely manifest to his grandson, revealing the extent of Palpatine's manipulation at last. Kylo Ren's redemption could therefore have come from much more easily, with Rey and Ben Solo then heading to Exegol united. No doubt events would have played out in a similar manner in the end, with Palpatine draining the power of the Force Ghost dyad, but then defeated by his own granddaughter. But still, Anakin's Force Ghost would have surely have been present at the right moment, his very presence continuing to point to the possibility of redemption and ultimate victory of the light. It would be far more effective than any Jedi voices. And that is true. That is true. Looking back, it's surprising to see that the Star Wars sequel trilogy would have been barely needed to change to incorporate Anakin Skywalker. This underlines the fact that Anakin's absence was an enormous missed opportunity, for Lucasfilm could have used him to help bind the trilogy of trilogies together. Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost was sorely missed. And I agree. It would have been great to see Hayden Christensen come back as Force Ghost Anakin. I'm hoping we'll get Force Ghost Anakin in the Ahsoka show. And I agree with all these points. I feel like Out of all of these that this article said, the most effective would have been Anakin replacing Yoda in the Last Jedi. Because even though it was cool to see Yoda again, and I will never deny that it was pretty cool to see Yoda again in the sequels, but I have to agree, seeing Anakin taking Yoda's place would have felt more appropriate. And too bad we didn't get it. Um, Maybe that could have been the saving thing, because that could be the thing that could have prevented Luke from dying in a weird way in the Last Jedi. But that's just me. Like I said, I think like I think Anakin Skywalker making at least one appearance in the sequel trilogy would have been great. I think it would be great. Anywho, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Force Ghost Anakin should have appeared in the sequel trilogy? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. And may the Force be with us all.